Hey y'all, welcome to Facebook Live with the Denver Post. My name is Danica Worthington and I'm here with Amy Dickinson, the writer behind the popular column Ask Amy. Amy, thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm happy. This is my first trip to Denver. I cannot believe it.
I love it. Well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
She's here for a little bit and she agreed to answer some questions that our readers submitted. If you have a question while watching, feel free to throw it in the comments. If we have time, we'll try and get to it. Before we hop in though, Amy, why are you in Denver?
So I've come here to give a speech tomorrow night for the Florence Crittenton Foundation gala dinner. And it is gala. Is really going to be quite amazing. So I'm pretty excited because their mission to support teen mothers and children is so close to my heart. So yeah, so I'm so happy to be here to do that.
Right.
And I've been touring the school today, and it is truly, I have never seen anything quite like it. The level of support, the education, the outreach, the medical care, and the young moms who I've met are so poised and, you know, fantastic and very, I don't know, they're really getting a great start. That's the whole idea. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, so we have a bunch of questions.
Oh boy.
So let's hop right in. So to start, a mother says her daughter became estranged after she got married 15 years ago. She says the husband had gone in between the relationship by convincing her daughter that her upbringing was emotionally abusive. Every time she tries to reconcile, he's sitting next to her daughter on the phone or reading through her Facebook and emails. The mother wants to know if her daughter will ever see that he is controlling or if the relationship will ever be reconciled.
That sounds like, just from the face of it, pretty classic controlling, partner abusive type behavior. The red flags are that she is never allowed to communicate with her daughter one-on-one. So she's right to be concerned. Now, some women who come from also controlling backgrounds sometimes seek that out in their partners, and it is really, really tough. What I tell parents to do is do not give up, do not pressure. It's a real delicate balancing act because, you know, she's very concerned. Do not pressure, let your daughter know, I'm in your corner. And if there's a back channel way to communicate with her, that would be great. But even if the partner is there, to just keep communicating. And I think a lot of women do come out of relationships and reunite with their family. But in the meantime, even if it really, really hurts you and it pisses you off, like, you don't stop communicating with your family member. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Keep the door open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so a woman is petite and says people always comment on her size, which she finds to be very rude. She's one. Is there something she could say to someone to quickly shut down that conversation or that topic?
I know. I responded poorly. Okay, I was like, wah, you're petite. Ugh. It's like, you know, the tall women, like, I'm so tall and willowy. Ugh, I hate it when people notice, you know. But I get it. I'm a little shrimp also. And honestly, recently I was a little shocked because a gentleman around my age actually attempted to give me a bit of a pro tip about how I was dressed. And I just said, and I didn't really know him. Yeah. And I said, dude, you do not tell me how to dress myself. My God, you're like, wow. But you know, I think people are always looking like for the perfect shutdown response. And I don't know. My daughter, who lives in Chicago, and she has honed her witty responses from riding on public transportation. She has gotten so she just basically says, dude, no.
Wow.
Yeah, not cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good on her.
I know, why do people do that? You know, I've had, like, been patted on the head, and honestly, I think sometimes people it's like they get nervous and anxious and they want to connect, or they're being cute, and it just comes off, it's all wrong. Yeah.
Wow.
Just let's not talk about, like, other people's bodies and, yeah.
Yeah.
But I have to say, recently I see this like super tall, like really, really, really tall person. And I had to, now I've been at this for a long time. I literally had to say to myself, don't say anything about his height. Don't ask him how the weather is up there. I mean, it's really hard if that's the first thing you notice about someone, and you're not going to criticize them. You're just like, dude, you're so tall. Like, how tall are you? And I just decided I'm not going to be that person who does that. I'm going to try to interact with this guy as if, of course, I am very short, but I think I act like a tall person, so that's part of it. I was like, hey, But yeah, I mean, I think we have to work harder to just accept people and try not to comment on people's looks, their bodies, all of it.
Yeah.
You do get to say, I love your hair. Is that okay still?
Yes, I think so.
I know!
I love it. All right, another question. A woman got divorced after her husband had an affair with her brother's wife. She never told her son why, although her brother told his kids. Her son recently asked what his aunt, the one who was in the affair, had done to cause his uncle and cousins pain. Put on the spot, she panicked and said she didn't know. She doesn't want her son to feel betrayed by her, but she's now wondering whether she should have stayed silent or not. Was that the wrong decision?
She doesn't say how old this child is.
A teen, I think.
A teen? Do you want your teen to tell you the truth about his life when he comes home from a party and you say, hey, who are you hanging out with? Well, like, you want your children to be truthful with you. And look, I went through a situation that was not unlike that. And I think every parent wrestles with, you want to protect that child's relationships, in his case, with his father and also with his aunt. You just have to tell the truth. Teens especially are so good at hearing the truth. They're truth seekers. They are really, really, really good at hearing the truth. They also feel respected. And so I think a sit down where you say, look, I have not been honest with you. I had my reasons. I wanted to protect you and your relationships with these other people, but this is what happened. These are adults. Choices were made, mistakes were made, and this is sort of proof positive that choices affect everyone, okay? But I have forgiven them. It's super awkward. These are your family members, and you get to love them no matter what. You know, and to just really, even, I think when it, and I actually think that teens love big talks. I do. I think they really like to hear from a parent like, I have something important to discuss with you. And you set it up almost like after dinner tonight, like, let's sit down for a few minutes. I think that really inspires teens to, when they have something big to say, they know that they will be heard. I think it's great if parents sort of write down notes. Here are the, like, here's what I want to make sure and mention. Here are the phrases I want to make sure and say. This is really big. Have to be truthful.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like
the worst thing is for your kid to hear like rumors and half-truths and gossip and no.
Yeah, you don't want that.
That was easy.
Yeah. All right, we have a question from a client, Florence Crichton. How do you co-parent with someone who has a different parenting style?
Oh, it's really hard. It's really, really hard. I think a lot of it has to do with understanding that other person's parenting style and where it comes from. Sometimes it's cultural. I think a lot of us who come from different cultures, that really influences the way we handle our children. There are people who are super strict, they're very authoritarian. There are people who are like way on a schedule. It's really tough if you're actually opposite with your partner or your family member that's helping you co-parent. But it really calls for instance, if your mom is helping you out with your kid and your mom has some like old-fashioned ideas about what kids eat. I think lots of grandparents out there are giving their kid, like their grandchildren, like chicken McNuggets and Happy Meals and stuff, and moms now are like not into that so much. But you have to go like, this is not going to hurt the child. This is how they relate to the child. This is not necessarily a harmful thing, and I don't really want to have a problem about this. So I'm going to respect this person's different ways, and this person then will respect my different ways. What you can't tolerate is any abuse, neglect, mistreatment, maltreatment. I mean, that is when your spidey sense as a parent you need to really lock in and shut some stuff down.
Wow.
But it's really, really, really hard to compromise.
Yeah.
It's hard to compromise.
Especially to your kid, like obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember it's like when my daughter was little, it's like I had her on a schedule and I was nursing, I was like Miss Perfect. And my mother, I think she watched her for like 5 hours. And I came home and I remember I had all sorts of thoughts about how my mother had done this. My mom raised 4 kids. I look back on that, I regret it so much because I felt like she did a great job, the child was alive, everybody was fine, and why did I need to come in with my little expertise?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I regret that.
Well, and then another question, how do you fight right with a partner when it comes to parenting?
Number one way to fight right is to not do it in front of the children. If you have to wait until the children are asleep, if you have to go sit in the car, if you have to text each other your thoughts, you do not fight in front of children and babies. One great reason is, you don't want to expose them to raised voices and violence and chaos. And I mean, actually, babies, when they hear angry voices, you can see it in their faces. Their eyebrows, they start to knit their eyebrows and they look concerned. They start to look worried. They will start to fuss and cry, which of course makes everything worse. So you have to do it privately. I think sometimes that writing things down, again, you have a family meeting, which is really hard to do when you're in conflict. But you have to, I mean, it's a long game. Parenting is a long game. And you really, really, really have to. Sometimes everybody's different, but sometimes one thing I've worked out with my husband is like, sometimes I like to table things because I need time to think. He likes to sort of handle things and really resolve things very quickly. And one of the things we've learned is I will say to him, hey, I need time. And he'll go, okay, I get that. So sometimes that's part of it. You go away, you get your thoughts, you cool down, and then you come back and you say, are you ready to talk? Yes. Are you ready to listen? Yes. It's hard. It's hard. But what you don't want is to expose your children to a lot of conflict. I also think it's a huge mistake, and I think young parents do this especially, to bring family members into your partner conflicts, unless there is a danger. Because then everybody starts ganging up on everybody, and it sort of it amplifies everything. So I think one mark of maturity for younger parents is can we handle our conflicts peacefully and privately?
Wow.
It's a heavy lift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was our last question. Thank you so much for being here. Everyone, thank you for watching. We have an Ask Amy column up on the website every day. We also did another Q&A that's up there as well. Check it out at denverpost.com. Thanks for being here, and thanks, everyone.
Oh, Danica.
Yeah.
So the headline on that Q&A
Yeah.
said something like, yeah, Amy's a wreck. It
You
was like,
said that.
I know. I was like, No, I loved it. I loved
Okay.
it. And have you already signed off, or can I add?
I think we're still going.
I just absolutely love being in the Denver Post. And one reason is my column is read in a lot of newspapers. The Denver Post is one of the very few papers that carries my column in full. It does not truncate it, chop it up, edit it down. And so I feel like, I know that Denver readers are getting the full Amy, for better and for worse.
I'm sure they appreciate it.
I love it.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. Everyone, have a good one.